Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and the stock market is down around 650 points, and by the way, that equals 6.5% because 100 points equal a percentage. Fun fact, now you know that. However, what's not fun about this whole situation is that in less than a week, I'm down around $15,000. And by the way, to me, 15K is still a lot of money, all right? And you might be asking me, Tommy, well, what do you do at this point when the stock market is making you lose a ton of money? Do you sell? Or, for example, do you buy the dip? Well, let me tell you what I did. I asked a 16-year-old girl. And by the way, no, she's not a genius in the stock market, but she knows about it from TikTok. And she tells me, well, Tommy, if I'm losing money in the stock market, I'm selling. And by the way, that is the most gut reaction and the most natural reaction when it comes to human instinct. And that's the instinct most of us have. Whenever we feel pain or we see loss, we want to make it stop. One way to do it is, hey, just sell it and call it a day. Don't suffer through it. However, if you know something about investments, you might say, well, Tommy, don't do that. Go ahead and buy the dip. But if I tell you, for example, well, how do you know it's actually a dip? What if the market was overvalued and now it's still overvalued, but it's just down a little bit more? And that's usually when people say, Tommy, you're asking way too many questions. I'm gonna exit through the door or click off the video, because that's the thing. No one really wants to dive really deep because you don't know if it's dipping if you don't know where the edge actually is. That's the whole point there. However, though, guys, although you might know what to do or what not to do, it doesn't mean it's gonna make it easy to actually do, okay? Because it's very hard. And in this video, I'll tell you exactly what you're supposed to be doing right now as the stock market is actually down, and it's going to surprise you. However, I want you guys to imagine something just for a second. Use your imagination. I promise it's gonna help you when it comes to making money, because I know people don't like imagining things, but it does help, okay? But imagine this like a river. And this river is covered with like around 10 inches of thick ice, meaning, yo, that ice is super thick. Now, you want to swim under this river for whatever reason it is, which is very stupid. Don't do it in real life. But you make a hole A on the left side and a hole B on the right side. And your goal is to go from hole A to hole B. So obviously you gotta go under the water and then go into hole B. And that's how you get out. And by the way, people really do this. But Tommy, what's your point here? My point is, okay, it's like investing. When you're under the water, your natural instinct is gonna be to panic, okay? To go back, but you might not make it back. That's the whole idea. You might lose money. Or for example, your instinct might be to breathe, to try to get air. But if you do that, you're probably gonna drown, okay? What you should do is go against your instinct and just hold your breath for another 20, 30 seconds, and then you're going to be home free. Now, in investing, it's the same exact thing. You get into an investment. Obviously, point B is you wanna make money. But instead of being like 20 seconds, it's gonna be 10, 20 years if you're a part of the long-term team. And whenever something goes wrong, you kinda wanna panic. You kinda wanna take a deep breath, but that's when you might drown. And that equals, I wanna sell, I wanna do something, I wanna switch over to this. And that's not what you wanna do. But in this video, we're gonna break everything down. What do? Do you sell? Do you buy more? And I hope that example helped you see. Sometimes you don't wanna sell. You wanna hold your breath just a little bit longer, because you know for a fact, if you breathe there, there's no way you're gonna break through a 10-inch block of ice, okay? Now, if you guys are new here, subscribe, hit the bell to get notified, and on top of that, also destroy the like button if you know who that guy is in the back there, Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. I just told you so. You know who he is. Like the video. Now, the first thing is, guys, mentioning Warren Buffett, he has this very powerful quote, and he says, "Be greedy when others are fearful, and be fearful when others are greedy." Great quotes, but I would add just a few extra words to it. And I would say, and know the reason why. But know the reason why also can be used. But the idea is, just trying to do the opposite of everyone else is not gonna get you that far. Because guess what? Sometimes the crowd, the herd, isn't wrong. And you don't always want to be the zigger when everybody's zagging, because people might be zagging for a reason. For example, if all you want to do is go against the grain, the market is down, I'm going to go ahead and buy right now because everyone's selling. It's not always the best thing, okay? It would be the equivalent of being back in the 1900s, hearing about the combustion engine in cars, and you saying, well, if everyone is so bullish on those fancy new revolutionary combustion cars, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna zag. I'm gonna put all my money into horses. You would be an idiot, okay? Obviously, my point is you don't always want to zag. That's why it's so important. You know the reason these things are going on. You know the why behind it. Once you know the why, it won't matter what they're doing. You'll just be absorbing. And on top of that, it's going to help you. Because if I know, okay, what's going on right now in the market? Why is the stock market down? By the way, some brief research will tell you this, okay? Right now, there's a new variant of that virus and people are super scared. It might close down, market might go down again. What's gonna happen? That makes people scared, people sell off, the market goes down. But what do we know? From the past, history. We know it took us a year to make a vaccine. We know more things today about how to combat these things as we knew ever. So most likely it's not going to cause the same effect because we already went through it and we are prepared for it. So although I lost $15,000, am I gonna panic and sell everything? The answer is no, because history shows me, literally like a year ago, hey, we went through this. We got over it. It's not the end of the world. There are casualties, but it's not the end of the world. So I might not have to panic right now. But then if you say, well, Tommy, that means I should be buying. Well, no, you kind of got to look at also, why is the stock market up so much when we were going through all of these crazy things? Well, guess what? The Fed printed a bunch of money and they went brr, right? And I'm not talking about real estate. That's a dad joke, you know, because real estate with the brr strategy and then they did the brr thing. Okay, I'll stop there. I'm sorry, okay? But overall, that's what's going on. So you kind of have to fully comprehend exactly what's going on to then make a decision and not base it off what other people are doing. So, for example, if you're picking stocks right now, and you know how to value them, and you say, well, the market is down, my stock is undervalued, I'm gonna buy more because it makes sense, great. If you are investing for the long term into index funds, ETFs, and you're like, okay, the market is down right now, I wanna invest more, and you actually have the money, you're willing to do that, that's fine too. But if you don't know what the heck is going on with your investment, whether it's a stock, and you're like, well, this stock is down, but should it be down? Is it at a good price? What's going on here? I'm panicking. Do I sell? What about my Bitcoin? What about my Shiba? What do I do exactly? That's when you need to be scared, because that's when you're acting like that 16-year-old that doesn't know what she's doing and is just panicking. That's when things get scary. So here's what I'm doing. Although I'm down right now $15,000, and by the way, partially because I switched over from doing some bonds and stocks mixed together, now I'm only doing stocks. And by the way, I prepped my mentality for the past 3 years, and that's why I'm not panicking, because I know what I'm getting myself into and I'm ready. So when I invest money, guys, this is my number one rule. Only invest money. Invest cash that you will not need for the next 10 to 20 years. So although I'm down at 15K, I don't need it for the next 10 to 20 years. So if you guys think I'm capping when I say long-term team, I'm not capping. I'm dead serious. Like, I'm legit not worried, because I know, yo, over the long term, next 10 to 20 years, this thing is going to average out. Things are going to be fine. That's the idea. So right now, I'm still going to be investing the same amount of money because I'm not worried about it, because I don't need this money right now. You're worried when you don't know what you're doing and you also need this money to pay your rent or to pay your taxes. That's when things get very, very ugly. So although this whole ride is a roller coaster, as long as you're not jumping off midway, you should be fine. So what's my strategy here? I'm still going to go ahead and keep investing 20% of my income into my passive income portfolio for the long term. Nothing is going to change there. I'm still investing money that I'm not gonna need for the next 10 to 20 years. So even when you have like this massive dip, if it's beyond my 20% and I don't have that money, I'm not gonna put extra money and then worry about like, yo, I actually need that money for this month. That's not what you want to do. You want to have things balanced out. And on top of that also, guys, the only way I could see myself selling is, for example, it would have to be something super massive where I kind of say like, yo, screw all that long-term stuff. For example, like a nuclear war. But even then, like, does the money really matter? It won't matter, because if we lose or if we win, things are just going to be terrible anyways. And you rather have your money in there than you rather have your money in cash, because if we lose, then the currency's not worth anything. So at that point, honestly, like, I'm not selling, like, no matter what it does, okay? Come, go, whatever it does, rain, storm, snow, I'm gonna keep investing the same exact way into the strategy, because again, I know it works, and I also feel safe because I'm not putting money in here I'm going to need in the short term, only for the long term. And by the way, long-term investors, here's a tip here. Buying the dip has been proven to increase your returns, but not by that much. It's not like a 10% increase. It's more like maybe like a percentage or 2% increase. In the end, it's going to average out. So I say this to say basically, don't be tempted so much to use money that you know you're going to need to buy the dip when the dip comes. No, just keep the same strategy of investing the same 10 to 20%. Make sure you're debt free. Make sure you have an emergency account. Make sure you're working towards paying off your mortgage faster. This way, you have a solid foundation and you're not worried that much. Now, for those investing into individual stocks, the rules are different, okay? So first of all, if you are investing into an individual stock, or for example, into a commodity, let's say you're investing into crypto or sheep, whatever you're investing into, okay? The idea is, if you are a real investor, and by the way, I mean as an investor, someone that invests into things they fully comprehend and they can kind of guarantee their capital is going to be returned and is also going to make the money. That's an investor. There's no luck involved, just a little bit, but you kind of have concrete numbers. There's no crazy imagination here like I did in the first part of the video. So if you're doing this, for example, and your stock is down, let's say Apple, and right now it's down, and you say, yo, this is actually undervalued and you can afford to actually buy some more, great, you buy some more. That's the idea, because you know exactly what you're doing. However, if you are picking stocks or crypto or commodities out there, but you don't know what you're doing, and by the way, by this I mean, I bought this because everyone's buying it, I made some money, now I'm kind of down, I'm kind of panicking, what do? Do I breathe in? You know what I'm saying? Like from the example before, that's the idea. Well, you gotta ask yourself a few questions here, okay? If I don't know what I'm doing, if I don't know what the value is, why it's going down, or why it even goes up, or when should I sell, you gotta ask yourself, when is it time to realize my gains? Because for example, if you have, by the way, I did this last year. I made 128% on a stock, and I got very lucky, honestly. And I said to myself, well, are you smart or did you get lucky here? And I said, I got lucky. I was like, all right, if you can't tell what's going on here, sell it, call it a day. I sold it. Luckily, it crashed like literally like the week after. But my point is, when you get lucky, and you know you're getting lucky because basically you can't tell what you're really doing, sell, realize it, and it might go up. I'm not saying it might go down, but it's best off to do that, because if you don't know what you're doing, you're always running that risk, and you probably will not be able to sleep well tonight. All right, now I have 3 pieces of advice for you guys. Okay, don't confuse luck with smarts, strategy, and skill. Okay. Don't confuse it. You know when you're lucky, you know when you're skillful at something, okay? There's a big difference, and you know it, and don't confuse it, and don't let your ego get in between it. Also, don't forget to realize your gains. As long as you have these massive gains in the market, if you don't realize it, they're not real, and they can evaporate in seconds. I'm down like $15,000. I'm not realizing anything, so I'm fine. I'm just gonna keep buying more or whatever for the long term. But if you're invest into something, got very lucky, and you're like, I'm gonna keep it forever, it's gonna keep it, but you don't know exactly what's gonna happen, you might wanna realize your gains. And lastly, don't forget about you 20 years from now. I'm always thinking about that guy, TommyBryson, but 20 years from now. What would he appreciate? Hey, when I was 20 years old, I put all my money in Bitcoin, and I pulled out at the wrong time, and I lost it all. But here I am, still working, still worried, still crazy, okay? That's not what I want. I'd rather be crazy now, but not in the long term. That's why I do long-term investing. But overall, guys, if you guys are still confused here, the answer is you gotta know exactly what the market is doing, and then you gotta take an action based on that information. So right now, currently, we know the market is down because of this new variant. People are worried, all these things. Long-term investors, if you're investing 10, 20% every single month, keep doing you. If you have extra money, you can keep investing more. But for me, I'm staying to my 20% because I know these are just parts of the markets. If you are an individual stock investor, you know the value it's down, you can afford to put more, you buy more. It just makes sense to keep buying $1 bills at 50 cents. It's just an amazing deal. But if you don't know what you're doing and there's luck and guessing involved, you gotta consider selling and then get into things you fully understand. And by the way, highly recommend, read the book, and it's called The Little Book About Common Sense Investing by John C. Bogle, and it's about mutual funds and index funds. And those are things you do when you don't really want to do the research and you just basically want to grow your money over time. Long-term investment style. Okay, guys? I'll see you guys tomorrow, though. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified. I hope this video helped you. I want to get it out very early because this way I know you guys aren't panicking and stuff like that. But I'll see you guys next time. As always, like, subscribe, more content here. Follow me on Instagram, TommyBryson, or send me a DM. On top of that, also, if you want to call me, link down below. And on top here, the channel, subscribe. Long-term team, out.